Hi, everybody. This is Max Farrow. This is DexTrader.com. This is the midweek 524. Oh, look at that. I've been hard pressed all day. So crazy. So let's do this. Let's just fix this right from the get-go. 524:17. That's right. Let's get the date right. Earnings risk disclaimer. We are going to sort of talk about money today, but you know what? Risk is risk. Here we go. All right. If you wanted to pause that, watch that, send it back, do whatever you want to do, complain to the FCC, I don't care. You know, do what you got to do. But if you are drinking the Windex, then I don't know. Maybe you need to go to the hospital. All right. Here's what we're going to talk about today. What the hell happened on Monday that sent me into a spiral for almost 3 days? And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But I went into like a whole legal spiral on Monday. It was very crazy. And I'll explain what happened and why here in just a few moments. We're going to talk about using the tools too. And this is sort of not like a breakdown of all the tools you may think. We're going to talk about them here in just a moment. Webinars and training. We're going to talk about business training. We're going to talk about Dex beta testing, which we're very excited about. Lots of good things there. Let's get started. Hang on one second. Did you ever have to sneeze and you just can't see it? It's like it's going to get there, but it's only going to come when like you have a mouthful of food or you're kissing your aunt or you know, I don't know. All right. So here's what we have. Look at the light. Okay, I looked at the light. I'm not going into the light clear in. So Monday, and this really, you got to take this back a little bit further because it's all about the data for us, right? It's always about the data for us. When we build anything, it is always about the data because the data is what saved us and it helped build our company, right? So in doing data, when you're finding a process, sometimes inconsistency can happen, right? And in my data, what was showing to be a level of a gap, if you will, okay? Because listen, Nadex uses an indicative price, okay? We know that. We all know that. And that indicative price is a period of a certain amount of prices, and they take out the middle and they average this out, right? They average this out, and then that's their price, okay? And I mean, it's like 119 or 1111, 112, 115, 114, and so forth. They average this out to give you a zone, if you will, of a price. Now, their explanation of this is to prevent whiplashing because the market's going like this, you know, micro whiplashing, that kind of stuff, to kind of steady the market, to keep it steady enough for that process. And that does seem like a reliable answer. And I will accept that answer that yes, it does create a buffer in the process, but it's not always just about the customer. It's about individuals. Well, it's about the company. It's about their market makers. It's about a lot of things. Now, when this price is there, usually on spot Forex, okay, or Forex, the Forex pricing, usually you're going to be 1 or 2 pips below this number. Always below. You'll never be higher, right? Your Forex should never be higher than the indicative, right? Remember that. Forex should never be higher than the indicative price on Nadex. This is the Nadex price. If it is, something's wrong. Okay? Now, how many pips should be the difference between this? Well, the average price out should never be more than 1.8 to 2.4 pips in difference in this. But sometimes what can happen, oops, let me get over to a whiteboard. Because remember, if you're using like MT4 for a price, or TradingView for a chart, or even the Dex data charts, okay? Dex data charts, they're going to be wildly off at times. Not off, but but because it doesn't use per tick data. So you're not going to be, if you're on a 5-minute chart, every bar that closes every 5 minutes, it updates the data. So before at minute 1, if the market's moved up a lot, minute 1, you might have a big gap, and you might have 4 or 5 pip difference in here, what you see from Dex data charts to here, because we're not calculating per pip or per tick. Okay. At the end of the bar, it'll update the info, so then it'll catch up, right? So you got to keep that in mind. But TradingView, MetaTrader 4, Ninja, all those other companies, they all use brokers, right? Their data is provided by either a brokerage or a data service that gets the information from the exchange overseas. Not even an exchange, they get it from all the different bank collectives, right? And this data sometimes has, of course, bid-ask spreads in. It has an indifference sometimes, right? So the broker's price might be 1110, and we're going to call this broker A, and then broker B might be 11109, right? Sometimes, because even to the last decimal, the second one, that one might be 2, and another one might be, let's put that in here, 11104, right? Might be something like that. So you could be almost a whole pip difference, 2 pips difference, whatever. So this is just the brokers, right? So let's say we hit here, got to one end of it, and then we go to Nadex, and they're at 11112. Or wait, sorry, can't do it that way. 1, 2, right? We'll say 0. Right? This being the pip. This is the micro. So that's 2 pips there, but now that's 3 pips. Why is that 3 pips off my broker? Max said if it's ever over 2.4, something shady's happening. Well, yeah, it can happen this way, right? Brokers can be wildly off. Their data could be skewed. Certain things can happen. So what was happening was that I was getting into trades and I was losing in the last 10 seconds. And I've been hash marking how many times do I lose in the last 10 seconds of a trade. Right? How many times do I lose in the last 10 seconds of a trade over the last 5 months? Okay. And I lost 16 times in the last 10 seconds. 16 times in the last 5 months, 16 trades out of 147 trades. Why don't I like that? Because that's more than 10%. I don't like losing in the last 10 seconds at 11%. And it was usually, when I started to see this, was when the indicative price was higher than 2 pips difference from my MetaTrader 4 and using forex.com. Same broker. But I had to kind of look back too, and I was using FXCM up to about 2 months ago. Okay, so I had to kind of look at the wildly indifference from one to another. So when I began to see this, I began to question, everybody goes, what, shady Nadex, or I think that's the term, or, why did that happen? Or, I just lost in the last 10 seconds. On top of that, there was some, and again, I got to be very careful how I phrase some of this stuff, okay? And I'm not saying Nadex is shady or there's anything wrong going on over there. But anytime we lose, we begin to try to find suspect. Correct? Did everybody do that? Anybody in that room? There's 6 or 7 of you in that room right now. Anybody do that? You lose and you go, holy crap, I just lost in the last 10 seconds. That feels like the 3rd time in a row. But at 11%, you get to kind of like, hey, what's going on? And my explanation for why do most, like if you're on bigger trades, okay? If you're in 5-minute trades, that's an acceptable amount. I'm sorry. If you're in 5-minute trades, losing in the last 10 seconds is an acceptable amount because you're only about 10 pips ever within a margin from your top statement to your bottom statement. You have a middle statement, you're going one up, one down. You're in that statement. You know, you're never really about 10 pips from here, right? This is a 10 pip margin, and the market's always moving, you know, whatever, right? And whatever one you get in, the last part of the 5-minute series, there's always movement in the market, right? So the pips are rolling by, the micro pips are rolling by. So there's always a chance for you to lose in that last 10 seconds because you have that movement. But when you're on a 1 hour to a 2.5 hour trade, losing the last 10 seconds kind of kicks you in the face, right? Because you get picked up, you just get picked up and you're like, oh, this is wonderful. This is hour 1. You're doing great. Everything's looking beautiful. Hour 2, it starts to retrace some. And you're like, oh, okay. And then the hour 2.5, you know, 2 hours, 29 minutes and 58 seconds, you're in the black, you're in the red. And you're like, what the hell just happened? And when this happens more often than, well, I can't say more often than not, right? Because it's only 10%. But when this happens on these longer term trades, you start to question because you're like, wait a minute, why is it losing the last 10 seconds? What am I missing? Do I get out sometime in hour 1 and just take my profit at my high number, get my green on? Yeah, it's a whole bunch of things you start asking yourself. So, 1, I saw an influx of last 10-second losses. 2, I saw wild swings of the indicative price. 3, I saw a competitor, won't mention who, I saw a competitor get something and make some very wild statements of certain things they had or had gotten, and I was very unhappy at that point because this is about fair market trade. And so a mix between these 3 things sent poor old Max into a small spiral. And I'm not going to apologize. Because the first thing you start asking yourself, is there corruption with the exchange? Is it with withdrawing? Is it personally against me or what have you, right? Because what happened before to me, right, has let me believe that if I would have used my gut and said what I thought and felt to the exchange of the network when I lost $115,000, when they said certain things to me, this exchange overseas, when the broker started not to return my phone calls, or I started to notice that when I was on demo, I was winning, and when I was starting to go live by myself, I was losing wildly with the same algorithms, you know, as far as the ones that were overseas in those binary, wild overseas binary companies. When I didn't ask the questions hard enough or push hard enough or grab my money and run for the hills or report them, I lost my partners, I lost my friends, my family doubted me. I swore I would never do that again. So you better believe I'm going to ask the questions that need to be asked. And if they give me answers that don't give me the warm and fuzzy, then the world will know. And that's what I did Monday. I gave you a heads up that, hey, be careful. Things are going to be hitting the road here if I don't get the answers I want. And I found the answers. I got the answers. I feel good about the answers or what happened, on why the indicatives were wildly off, you know, why the market lost there at a certain period of time. You know, there was a lot of understanding. I consulted, and I didn't go to Nadex, okay, to consult them over it. I went to some other people, some pretty powerful people. Okay, there's a lot of little 3-lettered initials, basically. And why am I being so vague with that answer? Is because I've learned that my friends and people that I've actually worked with over the years, who all have different types of jobs, all different types of legality within themselves, also want to keep their information to themselves. And I don't blame them. I really don't. But they were able to explain to me certain things that I had been missing and overlooking. So I can't just say trust me. I have to tell you right now that I did look into it. I will release some findings here next week on how to protect yourself and some other things to kind of look at. But I wanted to make sure that what the people were telling me that was happening, that it was true, and I verified one form of it, of the indicative side of it, and why. It's almost like the regulation behind their indicative pricing is heavily regulated, and so we can take that for sure. But also that in between regulational times, the spot checking this process, what can happen? Craziness can happen. The party's happening, and then they come out to regulate, and they're like, "Oh, we're good," and then there's craziness that happens again between regulational spot checks. Who knows? Okay. I think personally that, and again, remember, this is about transparency, and I'm not trying to scare anybody into anything else. NADEX is a very powerful network. They're a very powerful exchange. They work very hard to make their systems work. And anytime, I'm pretty sure, listen, these guys have probably a nightmare. Anytime anything goes wrong, they probably get 5,000, 10,000 phone calls, right? You guys stole my money. Or I just lost that trade. I want my money back. They probably get 50 million people calling them a month just to swear at them, and I guess I don't blame their cavalier attitude to some individuals. But to me, not that I'm this big deal or anything. I feel like I've been the redheaded stepchild left out on the stoop. And I guess that's the way they needed it to be, or something, that they didn't want to get relations with a signal network or a company that could, bring a lot of people to their doorstep and, trade against their market makers or whatever the reasoning is, right? I began to see these shadows in the closet, if you will. And now it's time to leverage ourselves and diversify, right? You guys know about business. You want me to give you a tiny business lesson here? Is that anytime you put all your eggs in one basket, the basket breaks, the eggs break, right? But if you have multiple streams of income and multiple streams of product, if one breaks, they don't all break, unless you have them all in one basket, of course. This is why we have Dex Signals, Dex Trader, Dex Indicators. This is why we have Dex Beta Testing. We have Our City Investments. We have the new Our City Go-Go. We have Band Business Builders. We got all these things happening. It may seem like a lot. Well, you should stay with just one thing. No, sorry. I'll never do that. You might think it's wrong. Some might think that I should just focus all my energies in just one thing and become very proficient at the one. And I'm sorry to tell you, and I don't want to sound egotistical, but I'm very good at all of them. And the problem is that where if one thing fails and falls, I'll have 5 more things to replace it. Why? Because I don't give up and I don't give in to any of this. I am here to make as many people successful as I can. And if one thing doesn't work, we can find 4 others that we can try to see what does work for you. Some of you that know me for a very long time, Paul is one of them. Amy, Brian, Brian all my life, of course, all his life. You know that I don't give up and I don't give into this stuff, and I'm not afraid to say what I feel. I'm not going to pull punches. Kind of pulled a couple punches on Monday, though. I was a little nervous about the legality of it. I don't want a multi-million-dollar company coming after me to sue me because everybody's sue happy, but that's what it is. Okay? So it's okay. Now, listen, it's okay for you to have a healthy skepticism. It's okay for you to be worried or doubt the situation with NADEX or any company, and Forex.com, Capital, Gain Capital, any of them, That healthy skepticism will protect you. If you get the red flag and it starts shooting up through the roof, take a step back, trade and demo, pull your money out, do something, right? Know the legality of it. If you feel like you have an edge, like here's something for you, right? If a company says, I'm going to give you an edge over everybody else, and you're the only one that's going to have it, Paul. You're the only one that's going to have it. Guess what? Run for the hills. There's nobody in the world that would be able to do that. If somebody says to you, I'm going to make you so much money, let me manage that for you. I could do it for you. Why would they? And I'm honestly trying to give some of you some experience on some of the stuff that I have, is that I told myself, well, I'm a busy guy. I don't have a lot of time. Let this company manage my money. Yeah, let them do that. Let them be my broker of choice. And what did I do? I began to listen to the stories of how great it was going to be on the other side when we were all making money. And then what happened? All these frowns went upside down, that's for sure. That's what happened, because they took off with all the money. And if I listen to the too good to be true, that's why we never state here at Dex anything on how rich you're going to be. We want to get you to your idea of success, what you feel is successful. Well, that's a completely different case, Thor. In just for the next 50 people who join, you're going to get a certain thing. I wouldn't run at that. I would be skeptical, of course, but I wouldn't run. But I think that because that's what in marketing, that's called scarcity, right? It's called the takeaway. A process of working with somebody's mentality of I gotta have it before it runs out, kind of thing. But in most cases, when companies, like, because we have scarcity too when we do certain things, but also our scarcity is kind of real, because we tell ourselves we can only handle 50 people in this system at first, because we need to be able to our price margin, we can only handle 50 people at $79. Back in the day when it was $73.50. I don't know if anybody remembers that, right? Where this number came from, I have no idea. It was $73.50 for the system, and we said for the next 50 people we're going to do this because we can't handle 1,000 people at $73.50, right? This wouldn't happen. And we filled this up in like a minute. It felt like back in March. So we were very excited about that. So that's healthy scarcity. All right. But if they're like, for the next 50 people, we're going to make you a millionaire, I'm sorry. Do it, Thor said, run the other way. All right. Let's move on to the next topic at hand here. I feel like I don't want to overpress that whole thing with NateX, but also I know that there's always going to be small things that seem like they're broken. And whether or not they're just broken, they're missing, or they're, scammy, that's gonna lead itself out. Now that the world knows to look, let's see what happens. All right, the tools. What tools was I referring to earlier? Of course, the exchange of NateX is a tool. Forex is a tool. The signals, whether it be an indicator or a tool, they are a tool as well. Okay? The signals is actually an indication of a direction, that several events have happened to create a direction model, right? Now, the percentage of the success of that percentage model will vary, of course, on data, right? Again, back to data, protect the data. And how well these things work for you will tell you, should you still use them? Let me give you an analogy. If I give you two hammers, one being, let's just call this a Kmart special, right? You went to Kmart, you bought a hammer. It looks cool. It's got a little edge to it, right? You got the big preface there with the hidden end, okay? For all you technical people, the hidden end, the business end, right? got a little weight to it. It's you know, let's just say it's 14 ounces, right? Doesn't really seem like that's a lot, right? For all you people out there that are technical or have ever done any construction. It's got a wooden handle, right? It's made of wood. Okay. This thing might do a job for you, right? Pounding a couple of nails, right? But when it goes, whether or not you're using it right or wrong or what have you, when it goes, it usually breaks right there where the wood meets the metal. Or you get calluses all over your hand from the just straight up and down. It looks like this. It looks like a pole, right? With a head on it, with a hammer on it. You know, that's all it looks like. You know, you wrap your little fist around here and you get calluses all over your hands and everything else, okay? So the reason I'm going this deep into this analogy is because the other tools that are involved are more fitted to your experience of what you need to build with, right? Let's just call this one the East Wing. I don't know if you guys are used to hammers out there, but a 22-ounce East Wing, a 24-ounce East Wing that has some weight to it, right? Looks a little bit prettier. I'm sorry, I'm not drawing it as pretty as it should be. It's got a fluted made of metal. It's got a rubberized handle with air pockets in it, and it's fitted. It's for doing the job, right? So depending on which one I hand you and what job you have to do, they still will do a job for you, but one is probably more likely to come back and hit you in the face, right? Now, no matter what tool you use, whether it's a good one or a bad one, they still do a job, but if you misuse them, you will get hurt. You pretty much agreed there, even with hammers. You know, if you don't know how to use the damn thing, you're going to smack your face off or knock a finger loose or, you know, this is just in hammers. Well, let's talk about nail guns. Let's give me a pneumatic nail gun. You know, shoot a couple nails in your foot. And the same thing is said for the tools that we have placed here. The exchange of Nadex, the exchange of Forex, okay, Forex.com or platforms or trading Forex. The signals that are used are all tools. Now, when we use these tools, we commit ourselves to something, right? And what is this something? This something is running a business. Right? And what is your business called? You know, this is you LLC. And this business uses some trading. It uses, you have probably an outside job, maybe, possibly, maybe. If you're only doing this business, then this job would be, how do I generate income to keep ullc.com going? How do I generate that? Well, I'm using my generation tools. I'm trading on Nadex. I'm using the tool for signals for now, applied with some, you know, I'm using the tools for some indication to help me see other opportunities to buy. I hate this one. Okay. You're using these tools in front of you to be able to help get you into what you need to do to make your money every month. That's what it's really about. We call this the nut, right? The little squirrel. How many nuts does a squirrel have to get to make sure it's safe through the winter? Okay. So this nut to be able to crack every month is part of your data, right? How much do I need to make this so you LLC can keep going every month? How much do you need to make? What is it that you need to do? Now, anytime that you first open up ULLC, let me tell you right now, they always have these, everybody has this statement, right? Well, it takes 5 years of good, consistent running to make a business work. No, you can be profitable your first month. You can be profitable your first day if you're really sincere about it, keeping it very simple. But everybody tries to do the crazy stuff, right? I need a $5,000 website. I need an idea and a product. You need all these things. No, you don't. You need to have a clear understanding that it takes money to make money, okay? So you're going to spend money, and where do you spend money first? In learning. And that's what you've done. You've come here to learn. You've come here to be a part of something. You then invest in your tools properly. and you don't hunt down reaction of ROI, return on investment, immediately. You can't. And this is where I tell most customers, if you come here to spend, let's just say 197 bucks, right? Let's just say this is what you're going to spend, right? What is your ROI? You're all going to say 197, aren't you? Because this is your investment. It takes you 3 months. Now you're up to $600. Now I need to go make $601 to make up. You know, I need to make up for that because I'm minus in the hole in there. So I need to make 601. So I'm $1 profit. And the answer is yes, you actually, does become part of your ROI. But how long does it need to take for you to be able to recoup that, to get to that point? And this is where knowing your tools, knowing your money management is going to save you. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. When I first, I actually owned a restaurant. Yes, I know. It was in Colorado. It's called the Erin Isle. It's part Italian and part Irish. And then when I walked in the door, I had something in my hands. I had a business plan. And in my business plan, I had written out the concept of my business, how much money I had to spend on building, right? Building my business. That meant the storefront, the lease, the stoves, building the bar, putting the floor in, getting the inspections. This is the pieces of the business that I had to build in order for me to open up on November 1st, right? This was June. And I had to tell myself that I also needed to make sure my rent, my food, my kids' clothes, everything was paid for at this time. So this became part of what? My solution, my ROI. All this was my return on investment. But I didn't walk in on June and say June 1st, I needed to have my return on my investment. I needed to be making money against this. No, because I knew it was going to take me from June to November to build the engine, right? That's what this is. This is your business engine. And once I started to knock out the tasks, right? Because that's what these are. These are really just tasks in your building of the engine. I knew that this cost a certain amount of money. This cost a certain amount. Now I already budgeted for this, right? Because I had $60,000 to build this. And when I had this concept down, when I had this, that everything was going to take, now you're not going to have 60,000. Don't take this anecdote as part of, you know, I need to have $60,000 to work with Nate or the Dex and all that stuff. But you better have something. If you come here with $197 and this is your budget, you failed already. I'm sorry. You failed already. Take a deep breath, pick up a phone, sit down with a consult, try to figure out how we can revamp, figure out another solution. If you have money coming in to be able to afford to be able to do this, then these are your tasks to do. Your first big task is to learn, and you all know that. Don't skip. Get through it. Learn. That's your building task. You got that. You're getting that one now. You're getting that one every day you go into the system. Every time you're training, right? This is the other task. We talk about this in the beginning. You're training. You're demoing. You're doing the data, right? You're creating yourself. Because this is a big one. You create yourself as a trader. Because whatever you do for a living, right? Whether or not you sell tickets or you're a carpenter or you're, you know, whatever you are, while you're trading, while you're learning this process, you have to begin to mold yourself as a trader. Think how a trader does. What does a trader do? How does he get his money? How does he protect himself? What does he look like? How does he sound or she sounds at that particular point? Because if you don't, all you're doing is you're pretending to be something you're not. To create yourself as it is not to act like it, but is to become it, is to start thinking as a trader does. How much money am I putting in for it to do what it has to do so I can pull it out and have my extra above what I put in at the end, right? Not per trade, but per your time period, right? Your macro look of your portfolio. This is your portfolio here. And how much time does it take to get through that? Well, in most cases, you can get through Dex and the systems and learn how to do that within about 3 months to really have an understand what you're in for. And how well a system will work will really depend on how much time you're willing to put into it to make it work. This is why one person can be really great at 5 minutes and the other person sucks at it, right? This person can be doing great, but this person does really well at any intradays or dailies. So it's all a matter of your personality and what type of trader you become and what type of trader you create yourself to be. Knowing that all of your tools, everything that you do to become that trader is all about how you handle them is what's going to set you up for success, for life. Because literally, do you think, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that like signals are no good because you got to rely on the individual, and they're right. You have to rely on us to be here all the time to provide those signals. What happens if something were to happen to us? Well, with us, we would just reinvent the signal and come back again and just be there. I mean, we don't give up. We're not going anywhere. Two years and something we've been here, and we haven't revamped everything, but we have learned, we have built, we have structured ourselves. We're pretty strong. We're probably the strongest signal company in the industry. Because even Apex Investing doesn't do signals per se. They are so deeply rooted into Nadex and their scanner and spreads and all that kind of stuff, and doing their own thing with their Ninja network and all that stuff. Great for them. They have their part of the market. But as a signals network, we're the only company in the country, in the world, that you can pick up and talk to on the phone, that we're transparent, we have webinars, we have everything that you see in front of you. We're the only ones in the world that you can do that with. If you find anybody else, let me know, because I'm willing to shake their hand and probably even make a partnership with them and let the world know who they are, because we need more companies like us out there to keep the scammers out. Okay? So there's a lot of work that you have committed yourself to make this happen, and so have we. And some of that work we're going to be talking about right now. The pro webinars are going to graduate to once a week on Mondays, right? Because I want to be able to give you enough information within a 1 hour period. So it's not redundancy, and I'm not just trying to find things to throw at you, okay? But I want to have real clear objectives for our webinars on Mondays, okay? And what those will be certain tasks to fill, certain ways to look at new trades, new things that we're bringing on, but also keep you very directed. During the week, I will take certain emails. You can email me. You can, give the calls. I'll do consults. On those consults, we'll sit and we'll talk about certain things. I will take some of that information and apply that to the next week's webinar for Monday for the pro webinar. Okay. Now, once a month, on the first Monday of every month, we're going to do a very special webinar. We're going to have a wrap up. We're going to have the highlight of new people that have made to senior levels. We're going to have graduation stuff. There's going to be a lot of cool things that are going to happen on those days. And why am I pulling it back? We used to have them 3 days a week, and then we had 4 days at night, and we had all these great things. Well, we're still doing a lot, But we know that now we can hone in a lot of good information on one webinar and have that so it'll take you through the week, okay? Because you're shaking off the weekend, you're doing whatever, got some Sunday night trading going on, and you need some guidance. So we're going to do that on Mondays at the noon hour, and then the archive will be on later that night. Now, we also might have it to where, you can go and join the webinar, and we'll have like a replay of the webinar, and then you can just go see it as it's played out, just like it is right now, and enjoy that as well. So keep that in mind. All right. There's also going to be some special classes and events that are going to happen called evergreen webinars, right? And these are very special webinars that are housed in time, right? You go there and you join, and you can see other people in there talking, and so it is a live webinar when it comes to that. I won't be there live. I may have been speaking, it may be a replay, but the chat room that's going to be on the site will be live, right? So we'll have a rep in there. Somebody will be in there, or other people, other traders will be in there, and you can chat, you can talk. You may not get questions answered here, okay? But if you ask it in the chat, it goes to a special holding system that tells us over at Dex that, hey, there's a question here. And then we get back to you via that question. So you can ask the question in the chat. Maybe somebody in chat will answer it, or we will answer it in an email back to you from that position. We do this because early in the morning, I can make 10 videos and 10 systems where later on, the kids are running around, the people out mowing their lawns and stuff like that. So we're starting to find when's our best time to make all the information solid for everybody, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. So these special webinars called evergreen webinars will be made available of different learning things, special advanced stuff on MACD, special patterns that we're going to be looking at for Forex, Dex beta testing will have a lot of stuff in here. There'll be business classes we're going to be talking about here very soon. So we'll talk about that right now, it looks like. Business training. Yes, we talked about this, the U, and I like that, is YOULC, right? This is you, baby. If you're not treating yourself as a business, what are you doing here? This is about you making money. This is about you becoming something more, working from home. Well, you better get serious, because if you're not serious to make money from home and to have that lifestyle, if you're just doing this part-time, that's cool too. But you still better get some sort of doing business as. If you don't have to get an LLC, just do a doing business as, or a partnership, or a sole proprietor, or whatever you're going to do. But you better be ready for taxes. You better be ready for all that stuff, okay? So how can you make money in the network? Of course, trading, right? We're teaching you how to be traders. But that's not it. We can also help you learn other things about businesses on building your business, diversifying your income with other things that we do, because we do a lot of other things. We started in this because we got ripped off. But before we did trading, before we did training and trading, we were a marketing firm. We're an investment network. Guys, I've built over 1,600 websites. As you can tell, I like building websites. Okay, so there's a lot of this stuff available. Even if you have a secondary network, maybe some of you diversified your income because you have another company that you're doing. Maybe you have a work-at-home business. Maybe you have a place that has a website. Maybe whatever it is, right? Maybe you're watching this after the fact and you're watching this from YouTube and you're looking for something more, BAM Biz Builders, those kind of things. We do that. That's what we do. This is what we do well at. Is where we got marketing from all of you. Nobody ever clicked an ad inside Google, some sort of paid advertising to get here. You've all come by word of mouth. You've seen us on YouTube. You've seen us on, we call organic marketing. And that's what we're famous for. We came up with the search engine optimization to create very strong organic marketing. How did we do that? Well, we beta tested a lot of things. So recently we decided that in order to keep Dex Trader clean of all things that were sort of unfinished, we wanted to be able to create Dex beta testing. Now, this isn't just another gimmick of whatever, right? This is serious, because we're in beta testing new systems, and that's the Forex. These are the new ones that are on board, right? We just started doing this on Dex Trader, but we're going to flip this over to Dex beta testing, which is going to be ready tomorrow. Yeah, I know I said that last week, but really we got a lot of stuff done. I got held up last week by a lot of things and some personal stuff that happened. And of course, beginning of the week with all the crazy stuff with Nadex. And then But we've gotten this down. This one's been around for a little while, a couple of weeks for sure, but it's starting to get its own tooth to it, right? A couple of things that have been brought to the company and that we've created is the 4X, what we call 4X buy, sell, stop. I like this one. This one's huge. And I'll show you this one today. This one's huge. I love this one. And then of course Nadex 3 p.m. signals. Now these don't come out at 3 p.m. These actually come out at 7 a.m. in the morning, and these will be spreads conversion, what we call spread purchases, right? So you'll buy into a certain particular spread. If it hits a number, then you'll take that number and you'll go in the opposition, blah blah blah. But we'll show you how we trade those inside that system if you want to be a part of that. But listen, these are all about testing. So if we get in there and they all work, we've tested and back tested for what we can, but we can't forward test without the help of many people in there. So there's some of you that might want to buy into this to be able to do this. It's a cost of $67. We're going to give you $10 off of the process to be a part of that, because we have to apply some customer service to this part of the system, and I got to hire somebody because we've run out of people to be able to do some of it. So we're going to have there's those of you like senior level 2s people, you're going to be over there. Don't worry about that, right? But for other people, it's going to be like $57 a month to be able to do this. But you're going to get access to all of these, right? You'll be able to do 4X ed signals, buy stops if you can, and Nadex spreads. You can test them all, test one, test every. It doesn't matter, right? Because no matter if you're testing one or all of them, when any one of them come out on Dex Trader, okay, you get them for 50% off or already in your system. It depends on what deal you have with us. There's a whole bunch of different deals, but you get the deal of a lifetime. Where this would be normally $97 or $127, you're going to get it for whatever we deem you at that point. So it'd be like some of you will be 50% off, some of you will just be paying your $57 here. It all really depends on what happens, but you'll never pay more than you're paying now. I guarantee that. Okay, because I want you, for all the work that you've done with us. Why do you still pay? It's because I need serious people in here that are wanting to put their ROI into it and help us build this even further. Okay. And so there's a lot of this stuff. This is good stuff in here too. You get that advanced notice to it. I could have just gave it away to everybody for free, but then I would get a bunch of people in there, and some wouldn't even be able to qualify for this. Okay, so these are pretty cool, but I'm going to show you the buy, sell, stop here in just a second. In fact, let's do that. Give me 1 second here, and let me see if I get over there. Update that. Update. Okay. All posts. Keep forgetting I can use my mouse. All right. So jump back over here. Go into desktop. There we go. Okay. So here's Dex beta testing. I don't have the buy, sell, stop spreads up here, but here are the, because we're using what we call a post signal, right? So we make a post in our system, and it will go out to, you'll be able to come to the site and see the post. Now, depending on if it was something that already happened, like these are pretty cool, right? This is what happened yesterday from the signal being released. We gave you a certain area to be at. We gave you a profits to be able to take get out when it has a loss. It's called a stop loss. There's these things, right? And when one goes on, you could take the other one off. If you look at the market, if you feel like, you can always put it back on if it starts to look like it's about to fill or do certain things. So yesterday I did it started at 11 o'clock. By 11:30, I'd made 30 pips. I waited till later on, got filled again. It was like 12:30. And I forgot to put the time in here, 12:30, but it went real fast against me for the Euro USD. But the other one for the Euro USD, the other direction, filled almost immediately afterwards and got me to that 20 pips. So I sort of canceled one out over another. And how this works is pretty cool, is that when a signal comes out, let's just look at a British gold pound. The British gold pound USD, right? I'm going to give you an area to be at, right? So if this gets to, let me see if I can pull that up here. Okay. Easy enough. Okay. And then one signal is going to say British Gold Pound, what they call a buy stop. Okay. Limit order kind of process, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It was in the miniature. That sucks. I'll have to get you guys some spreads here and show you what that looks like. But okay, so the signal will come out and it'll say British Gold Pound USD. It'll give you a number, right? It'll say a buy stop at 1.300, right? 0. Okay, and then it'll say British Gold Pound USD sell stop. Sell stop at like one. What was that one on there? 2960. Okay. 12960. And after, well, see, so all this information is, I put it over too far, but there'll also be a take profit and a stop loss information more on the side over here, right? So what happens is that you come to your chart and you go to forex.com if you're going to use their platform, and you put in a limit order for when the market's, because the market's going to be like down in this area, right? So you're going to have a sell, you're going to have a sell stop down here and a buy stop up here, okay? And surrounding the buy stop and the sell stop are going to be a take profit and a stop loss, okay? So this means that once it gets to, say, 1.33030, you're going to take your profit, right? You're going to take your money. But if it hits, because here's the funny part about this system here. The risk values, the stop losses, are usually between 15 and 25 pips. Take profits are usually between 20 and 30 pips per trade. And this is why I started to really look at this process. And how do I figure those out is due to previous structure. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm using Fibonacci, okay, on some returns, some very special numbers in there. On the Fibonacci retracement, I'm using things in there for that. And I've done it in such a way that I receive the signals, but I'm only going to be using 2 pairs for right now at any one time, Euro USD and a British Gold Pound USD for now. Okay, and I'm going to use these margins. I'm going to use this information to create this way of trading for Forex for some of you. Okay, and you're going to learn how to follow these, and this is going to be very exciting for a lot of you, because if the market travels up to here to 3.0, okay, and hits that number, your Forex system is going to say, okay, I just bought in and for a buy, so for every tick that goes up, I'm going to make $1 or 10 cents or $10. Then yay for me, right? Once I hit this, I'm going to get out of the market. But if it happens to go against me, I'm going to get out of the market here. I'm only going to lose 15, but I'm going to win 30. That's a 1 to 2. Pretty powerful, right? On the other hand, that if the market goes the other way, right? Let's say the market goes the other way and comes down and hits the sell stop and says, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through and take a sell now, but I'm going to take my profit here. But if it bounces back up and hits my stop loss, I'm going to get out. Okay, so you basically will have 2 different ways to go, and sometimes, just sometimes, right? You got your buy stop, you got your sell stop. Market comes out, does this number, and does this number, right? Sometimes this can happen, but you got to look left. You got to look at structure, and that's what I'm going to show some of you, on how to do that, how to spot that structure. Is it going to continue on? I'm going to also show you how to use what we refer to as the RSI with this system in here as well. So this is pretty powerful information for all of you, because you'll begin to spot this system And then for some of you, I'll be teaching this entire process too, as part of the beta in there as well. So if you're interested in these things, then that's going to be one of them to be in there. The part about Dex beta testing is that we're not just testing platforms for trading. We're also testing some of our business building process, like I was telling you, LLC and that kind of stuff. BAM Biz Builder is a pretty big process that we're putting together right now. We've had, I'd say, 15 to 20 companies contact me, people that have these companies that want more help because they've seen us build Dex Signals and these other networks that we have. So we're going to be traveling down that road. I'm putting a lot of my information into teaching people how to like make websites and do those things, a do-it-yourself process to, we do it for you kind of solutions, since we have a very strong team. Also, OurCityGoGo.com, which was out once before, and when we got taken for $115,000 by that overseas company, I had Our City GoGo and Our City Radio running, and we had millions of people going to these sites and these systems per month, and we had to let everything go. So slowly we're bringing these things back. We have over 100 plus cities in there right now that we're building out. If you haven't noticed, Brian's been kind of quiet lately because that's where he's over at, putting in all the data, getting everybody on, getting the system. So it'll be something that some of you in Dex who have businesses or just want to find different things to do in your area can help us with that as well with this solution. Final thoughts, and I'll make this real quick. We kind of went a little long today, and I do apologize. I want to thank all of you who subscribed to the Dex Indicators channel last week. We put over 400 people onto that channel, and now we're up to, because we were at 800, we were at 888 when I put out the first email, and now we're over 1,200. I think we're 1,240 or something like that. Pretty powerful. So thank you very much to everybody who kind of came on board, seen the call, came in, you rallied. I really appreciate that. Can't thank you enough. Woohoo and a boo and a yah. But listen, we're always growing. So we need to do the same thing for Dex Trader. So if you know anybody that just, they need some information and they want to put stuff out, send them over to Dex Trader on the YouTube. Share it as much as you possibly can to help us get that information out there. I don't really have too much Tony Robbins stuff for you for the final thought today, but listen, this is a weekend of relaxation, I guess. I always find this, very disturbing. Happy Memorial Day, remembering all the people that passed in our lives for military. Listen, we have 1,235. Thank you very much, Paul. Memorial Day weekend gives us an opportunity to sort of reflect with our family and enjoy our lives just a little bit. Remember, you got to do that every day. If you're going to enjoy your family, great. If not, go hide in the hills. Remember, just bug spray, toilet paper, and plenty to drink, and enjoy yourself. Okay, come back refreshed on Tuesday. There's no webinar this Monday. Okay, we might be doing one on Tuesday. I might have one on Tuesday to kind of get that fixed, but we'll have to see how Max enjoys his Memorial Day weekend. As all of you know, I find myself to be very compassionate towards people that put the work in to work hard with us. And for those of you that are here and those of you that are watching, I can't thank you enough. I really can't. And I'm really heartfelt with this, that it's because of you. You've given me my success by being here. Okay, by allowing me to help teach you some of these things that I've learned from mistakes. I'm not perfect. I make plenty of mistakes as I go. But one thing I always remain true for me is that I will never quit. I will never give up. And until I can help every single person that comes through the door at one point or another, I'm just going to keep going and keep doing. And you can always count on me to be there for you if you give me a call, if you want to make something happen, but you got to put that work in as well. Okay? I'm going to try to do my best. Some things fall through the crack, but you got to be resilient and still come back at me, right? So with that said, I'm going to let you go. Thanks a lot for watching the video after the fact, because you got to this part of it. It was a very long video. I appreciate it. And for everybody else in the room, stick around for a second. We might have some questions and answers. Everybody else, take care. Enjoy your weekend. And as always, trade well. I'm Max, and this is DexTrader.com.